Hi friends, it's Jen at Perfectly Imperfect, and today I am going to show you one of my most recent makeovers. This is a beautiful buffet that I picked up on Facebook Marketplace for only $50. It was a heavy one. My son came along with me to pick it up and helped me get it out of the truck. I gave it a good once over before getting it into the house. And as you can see, that top is in very rough shape, but I'm not too worried about it. I absolutely love this style. It's very classic and traditional. I love the hardware. The green felt on the inside of the drawers will be removed, but just look at those curves. I love it. I love buffets because they are so functional and offer so much space. Now that it's inside in my in-home workshop, let's take a little bit of a closer look. I would love to save this top. My plan is to sand it down and restain it in a dark, deep stain color. But look at all this damage, you guys. You can see there's like rings. I believe that's probably water damage. And you can see that this one side looks much more worn than the other. So the very first thing I'm going to do is take my sander to it. I do plan to keep the original hardware. I'm going to clean it up, possibly paint it if needed. But as you can see, this is a very high quality piece, nice dovetailed drawers, and lots of storage. Other than some scratches and dings and some cosmetic damage, the bones of this piece are really good. It's very solid and very sturdy. All of the drawers work nicely. It's just in need of a little facelift. There is a small issue with the door on the left side that I will have to repair, but that's not a big deal. The first thing that I'm going to do is take my sander to the top of the buffet. I'm starting with 120 grit here. This is a wood veneer top, so I don't want to go too low with my grit. This did take some elbow grease, but I don't really think I needed to strip it first since that finish was already pretty worn down. It did come off pretty easily in most of the areas. I am using my Festool sanding system, which I absolutely love. It allows me to sand right inside of my house without getting any dust. It is one of the best purchases I've ever made. You can find a direct link to the dust extractor itself in my Amazon shop. The sander that I'm using here is not available on Amazon. However, they do have several different models and several different retailers. You guys will not regret this purchase. After I got done sanding it with 120, you guys, to my great disappointment, this is what it looked like. Look at those dark black stains. I'm not quite sure what they are, but I was so sad to see those. I did not know if I would be able to save this top. The rest of it looked okay. And remember, I still need to go over this with 220 grit But man, I was really, really worried about those dark black spots. But then I remembered I had this product. It's wood bleach. Make sure you read the directions on how to use it. But I thought, why not give it a try? So I mixed it up and covered those dark black spots with the wood bleach itself. You simply apply it and let it sit and dry and let it do its thing. Let's keep our fingers crossed on this one, you guys. Here it is, still wet, but starting to dry, and I can kind of see it working. It looks like those spots might be lightening up. And here it is dry. You can still see some of the darker areas, but much, much better, right? I did end up doing a second round of the wood bleach and I went over the entire top. While I let that work, I decided to start on the rest of the piece. The first thing I did was to remove the hardware. This gorgeous style of hardware is called White, and it's probably my favorite hardware of all time. Like I said, I'm going to clean it up using my hardware soup. I'll show you that later. If they don't clean up the way that I'd like, I will paint them, but I will definitely be reusing this original hardware. After I got all of the hardware removed, I gave the inside of the piece a good cleaning. Check out this dirty water, you guys. And then I used my favorite odor bully. I've started using this in almost all of my pieces, even when they don't really have a strong smell. They are vintage, they're used, and I just love this product. It's also linked in my Amazon shop. Now, while the odor bully is doing its thing, I got back to the top. Remember, I bleached those dark stains and then I did another round of bleach on the entire top. So I'm coming back in here to sand the entire thing with 220 grit to smooth and even everything out. Again, you guys, keep your fingers crossed. Look at this. It may not be perfect, but it is so much better. The wood bleach worked. You might be able to see little remnants of the dark areas, but honestly, once the stain is applied, I really don't think you're going to notice it. And remember, I never go for perfect. So let's get some stain on this. I am using Jacobean by Minwax. It's a very dark color. I'm using a staining pad here and it's super easy to apply. Once I am done applying the stain, I let it sit for just a few minutes and then I wipe back the excess. Here I am just using some old t-shirt type rags and just make sure that you're getting off all of that excess stain. And here it is, the stain is still wet, it's still drying, but you guys, it's looking pretty darn great. I am very, very pleased at this point. Safety tip, when you are done with those rags, lay them out somewhere flat to dry. Do not ball them up or put them in the garbage. They can start a fire. Okay, moving on while that stain is drying, I do have a little bit of veneer damage along the bottom of the buffet to fix, and I am just using a basic wood filler here, applying it to the damaged areas. Once that is set up and cured, I will come in and sand it smooth. While that wood filler is curing and I have the piece lying on its back, I'm making sure to clean off the bottom of the piece. Often you'll find cobwebs or dust. So first I'm vacuuming it and then I will give the bottom a good cleaning as well. Now that the wood filler has hardened, I am going to sand the base of this buffet. I am using 120 grit here because I do plan on sanding this part down to raw wood as there were lots of dings and scratches along the bottom. Normally, I wouldn't sand it to raw wood if I'm going to paint it. I would just give it a scuff sand. But because there were so many scratches and dings, I decided to go to raw wood. After I do the 120 grit, I will go up to 220 grit to give it a nice smooth finish that will take the paint very evenly and smoothly. Let's move on to scuff sanding the drawers. I decided to do this by hand and I am using 220 grit here. I've told you guys this before, but scuff sanding is just a light sanding to remove some of the existing finish to give your piece some tooth that will aid in adherence. This top drawer here did have a little keyhole cover. I removed that using a flathead screwdriver. And now I'm just moving on with all of the drawers, giving them a nice scuff sanding with 220 grit sandpaper. Scuff sanding is necessary to aid in better adherence of your paint. It's just lightly removing the finish that is already on there. You do not have to sand it to raw wood before painting it, but this step really is necessary. After that is done, I just wipe them down with a microfiber cloth and then I will give them a good cleaning. I am using my favorite cleaner. It is called Anvil by Melange. It's a cleaner and degreaser in one. It's a non-soapy, non-foaming formula so that you don't have to come back in and rinse it again with clear water. I love this product. You can literally feel the difference in how clean your pieces are after using it. Okay, so now the drawers are ready for paint. This is the color I chose, you guys. It's one of my most popular and most requested shades by Melange. It's called Basilisk Black. And the way I describe this color is actually a very, very deep, dark navy blue with black undertones. From some angles and in some lighting, it does look more black than blue. But when I look at the piece as a whole, when it's done, and you guys will see this, it does look more navy blue. The brush that I'm using is called the Rachel brush by Melange. It's a premium oval brush. It's my absolute favorite. I use it 99% of the time. I love the grip. I love how much paint it holds. It's so easy to use. And again, this is by Melange. Look at that one coat coverage, you guys. The primer and top coat are built in with this paint, so I didn't need to prime, and I will only end up needing to do two coats. This coverage is amazing. The paint itself is self-leveling, which means once it dries and cures, you will not be able to see any brush strokes. It's so easy to use. It's hands down my favorite paint, and I have used many. I've been doing this for over 10 years now and have used countless paint brands. This is by far my favorite. While that first coat is drying, let's work on the hardware. I'm using my hardware soup recipe. You guys, I do have a separate video on this process if you want to check that out. But basically, I'm boiling that hardware in a mixture of water and vinegar for about 15 minutes. After that, I scrub the hardware using Barkeeper's Friend and an old toothbrush and kind of let that just sit and do its thing. After that is kind of the secret or most important ingredient, and that is the fine grade steel wool. I do get it a little bit wet, and then I scrub, scrub, scrub away. The steel wool works wonders, and you can see it here how well it worked on this hardware. Here's a little before and after. I did ultimately decide to paint this hardware, however, because there's a paint spray that I love so much called Rustic Mist by Rust-Oleum, and it goes so well with pretty much any color, but I knew it would especially look great with Basilisk Black. You're going to want to do light, thin coats to get the best coverage. After several coats of the rustic mist, it was time to reinstall the hardware. You can see I was removing the tape from the back of the hardware holes. That's so the paint doesn't drip through. Make sure you tape those off before you start painting. Look at how beautiful they look against this color, you guys. That's why I decided to spray them. Rustic Mist is just this beautiful finish, and I've used it on so many pieces with so many different colors. It really is my favorite. Okay, the hardware is installed. Let's get back to the top of this piece. My stain is fully dry. I did let this sit overnight before top coating it. And you guys, it's still looking really, really good. I never would have imagined that those black stains would fade as nicely as they did. I'm so pleased. Now it's time for top coat. I am using my favorite. This is Armadilla by Melange with my zebra brush that's specifically designed for top coats. I will make sure to link both of these products as well. I call them the dynamic duo. If you're like me and you brush top coats, first of all, you know it's not always easy, but these brushes are absolutely amazing. Once I started using them, I have never gone back. Great coverage, so smooth, so easy to use. I love them so much. Just like when I am painting, you guys, I like to use long, even, thin coats. I will do at least 3 coats of the armadillo to get that excellent coverage and that strong finish. I do typically wait a few hours in between coats. This is a water-based product. It does dry quickly, but I still like to give it at least 2 hours, if not more, in between coats. This is my third and final coat right here. Okay, are you guys ready for this? Just a reminder of what this top looked like before. The seller on Facebook Marketplace even warned me. The top is really bad. I don't know if you're going to be able to fix it, but I knew I at least had a chance. And even after finding those dark black stains, I still had hope. And with the proper tools, I did it, you guys. Look at how beautiful it looks now. With that dark stain and that armadillo top coat, it is so incredibly beautiful. Again, it may not be perfect, but so much better than it was before. And I do find that using a dark stain does help hide the imperfections in most cases, and I do think that it did in this case. If you did not know where those dark stains were, I feel like you'd have a hard time finding them. I am very pleased with this result. Now that the top is done, the drawers are done, let's get working on the frame of the buffet. So I'm starting with the good old scuff sanding. I did some of it with my sander, and then on the more detailed parts, I scuff sanded it by hand. I kind of forgot about that damage on one of the doors, so I did go ahead and apply my wood filler here, and I'll let that set up and cure and then come back and sand that. After scuff sanding it and cleaning it, just like I did with the drawers, now it's time to paint. The fun part, right? Just a reminder, I am using the color Basilisk by Melange, applying it with my Rachel brush. The primer is built in, so I do not need to prime this piece. The coverage is excellent. I did end up doing a total of 2 coats, but you'll see after this, which is just my first coat, how excellent that coverage is. This color is so beautiful. I know I mentioned it before, but it is one of my most highly requested colors on custom pieces. And when I use it on my own, the pieces that I've painted in this color always sell very quickly. It's very classic and timeless. It's moody and just beautiful. I ended up lining the drawers of this piece. I did clean them up and sand them, but there were some stains that I could not get out, so I chose this beautiful drawer liner. This is linked in my Amazon shop as well. Okay, you guys, now it's time to clean up. Here's one of the things you don't see when you look at all the pretty pictures on Instagram. There's a mess behind the pretty pictures, and you don't always get to see that, but I'm showing it to you here. So I got the buffet moved back on my wall that I always use as my staging wall to take pictures, and put all the drawers back in, and then I had to clean up my mess. Just look at this, you guys. It is a sight to be seen. And this isn't even close to how bad my mess is most of the time. It takes lots of products and things to make pieces beautiful. So if you're a clean freak, which I am not, furniture refinishing may not be for you, especially in your own house. Okay, let's get this beauty staged and ready for some glamour shots. I use items that I already have in my own home to stage most of my pieces. I thrift a lot of my items. I don't spend a whole lot of money on staging, but staging is so very important. Look at it now, you guys. It is beyond beautiful. I feel like you would never guess that I only paid $50 for this piece, and I don't think you'd ever guess that that top would look as beautiful as it does. This color is so deep and rich and beautiful, and it's absolutely one of my favorites, one of my go-tos by Melange. This piece sold before I could even list it. It was seen in my stories on Instagram, and I had a very loyal client who loved it and said she wanted it. I am so happy with the final result. Look at the beautiful sheen of this paint. There is no top coat that I had to apply because the top coat is already built in and it is very durable. The sheen is perfect. It's not matte, it's not glossy, it's the perfect satin finish. And look at how good that hardware looks against Basilisk. Rustic Mist is definitely my go-to. That is also linked in my Amazon shop. You should be able to find it at local hardware stores as well. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and love this makeover. Please subscribe and follow along for more. Thanks for being